Game jams. If you don't know what it is, it works like this. You're given a theme and then are forced to bash keyboards for a week and crunch for hours on end to make a half-finished game to compete against the hundreds of other submissions. I mean, might as well, right? Oh my god. So in all seriousness, today we are going to be competing in the game jam hosted by Brackies, a former Unity YouTuber that decides to still hold game jams. Asodiac is also joining me on this journey. He is the artist of the game and is going to be doing all the pixel art, music, and design, whereas I'll be working on all the programming and majority of the behind the scenes work as the programmer. By the end of this video, you will be able to play the game we created for this jam, so stick around and let's begin. So, it's the first day, and the game jam has officially begun. The theme that was announced was, "You're Not Alone." We had some ideas, as must do, and we started by hopping in a voice call for a few hours to begin thinking of some concepts and ideas we had for the game. We started with the basic idea of a platformer. We tampered with the concepts of horror games, but decided on a puzzle game. There would be multiple controllable players that all had different uses and specialties, as well as weaknesses, and needed each other to proceed towards and complete its shared goal. After all this, the game concept we came to the conclusion to was this. Our two characters are the demon and the angel. The setting the game took place in was underground in hell. The idea was that each level represented a different stage in hell, and you were trying to get to the upper exit of each level to get back to Earth, where they both live happily ever after, or something. I don't know, man. But to get to this exit, you have to help one another, whether it's to open doors for each other from across the level, or just giving emotional support to one another. But since neither of us have friends to play it with, and I have no idea how to add multiplayer, the player is able to press a button on their keyboard to switch control over from one character to another. Along with this, you can board one another, basically like hopping on another's shoulders to help the other get somewhere, which we thought would make some interesting level design. So with the basic concept in mind, we left the voice call and started working. I spent a few hours creating a basic platform design that I was happy with, basically just a bunch of squares and code. I had some basic camera tracking, and that was pretty much the most I could do for now, which is convenient because it's super late at night and I have school tomorrow, so I'm gonna go hit the sack now. So it's the second day now, and I just got home from school to find that Asodiac had made some sprites for the demon, as well as a few different brick sprites, which looked amazing. So I added them as sprites in the game and did some code to have player animations for the character. After looking over the sprite sheet for objects in the game, I quickly realized that with my current system, I would have to make an object for each and every type of brick and parent them, which would be super inefficient because of how many we would have to make. After thinking of some of my options, I decided to go with tile-based collisions. This collision system uses a tile map, which is basically a layer in the room that I can paint on with an imported sprite sheet. Then have the player detect and collide with anything in the tile map. This makes it easy to import new brick types into the game later on, unlike object-based collisions. I had never worked with tile collisions up until this point, so I had to do some research to figure out how to do this. I found this epic oh god, it's an hour and a half. So I kept having issues with it, making it take way too long. I followed the entire tutorial just to realize at the very end that you could just go in and copy the code, so yeah. But regardless, now we have a working tile-based collision system that we can configure and change to our liking and make levels super efficiently. So thanks for the epic tutorial, very cool. Anyhow, it's getting late again and I am tired. I got home from school and checked Discord to see that Asodiac had finished the first level and the sprites for the angel, the other character in the game. So I started by importing the sprites for the character, duplicating the demon object, changed some code, and dropped it into the room. But currently there is no way to switch between the two characters, so I made an object to control the entire game and added some code to allow you to click F to swap control between the angel and the demon. After adding in this feature, I removed the camera tracking and instead had the camera be fixed, simply capturing the entire room. But when I did this, I quickly realized that there was no real indication on which character you were controlling. So I messaged Asodiac about it, and within the hour he whipped up versions of the sprites that are outlined in white to represent which character you are actually controlling, which looks great by the way. And now we are getting pretty close to a playable game, kinda, not really. Anyway, it's time to add some lava to the game because lava hurt and everyone knows not to touch it, except for me. Anyways, Asodiac sent over a lava sprite I could use, and all I had to do was add it to an object, then add collision testing to reset the room if you touched it. After adding this, I realized that the demon was supposed to be able to walk on lava. Simple enough, right? I just added some tiles under the lava, and then I realized that in the first level, the lava is supposed to move up when you flick this lever, and since you can't actually edit tile maps while running the game, my new fancy tile collision code that I spent 5 hours on wasn't that fancy anymore. I need the player to collide with lava and objects as object collision and tiles with tile collision. So I did surgery on my code and combined object collision and tile collision in the same script to create this Frankenstein collision system. I basically blacked out and woke up with all this code, and I honestly have no idea what any of it means, so that's epic. I am completely burnt out for today, so sleepy time for me. So it's currently Thursday, meaning we are basically at the halfway mark, which is kind of spooky for me because it feels like Asodiac is making the art faster than I can implement it, and the game is nowhere near done. That's okay, they'll figure it out. Anyways, Asodiac sent over the next 2 levels, so let's get to more level design. Now it's probably a good time to tell you to check out Asodiac's channel. He posted his process of the project, and the links will all be in the description, as well as the link for our corresponding Discord servers. Back to the level design though, we originally planned to have 10 different levels, each being a unique and different puzzle to solve, but we quickly realized that it was super far out of our 1 week scope for this project, and decided to go with only 5 levels. Quality over quantity type mindset. I haven't actually fully discussed the abilities and the weaknesses that each character holds. Here's how it works. The demon can walk on lava and can't jump that high. The angel on the other hand is able to double jump, but dies when touching lava. This forces the 2 characters to interact and requires the player to use their brain to calculate the movements beforehand, leading to some great level design. But to actually apply this, the characters need to be able to hop onto each other's shoulders, like I was saying at the start of the video. I started with some basic code to allow the currently controlled character to board and dismount the other character when they're close to each other, and when the F key is pressed. Basically, it just clamps one character's location to the other character's location. I quickly realized this wouldn't work though, because the character on top is still colliding with objects, which created a ton of issues and wasn't in the original plan for the game. I thought for a bit on how to fix this, and I ended up creating duplicates of both characters and deleting all the code, making them potatoes, basically. The idea is that when you board the other character, the real character gets clamped to a location right outside the scene, and the fake character is put in its place on its shoulders. When you press F again to dismount, the fake character is put back where it originally was outside the screen, and the original character gets teleported back next to the location of the other character. It took a few hours to implement all of this in, but I'm pretty happy with it, and it looks pretty convincing. Before going to bed, I did some more bug fixing here and there, but was too tired to go on ultimately. Sleepy time. So it's currently Friday afternoon, meaning it's officially the weekend. Now I don't have to worry about school, allowing me to try to finish the game because the jam ends in less than 48 hours. So Asodiac was working on a bunch of title menus and GUI artwork, while I was working on bug fixing. This is about the time when we came up with the name for the game as well, so say hello to Hellawai. I'm not sure exactly how we got this, but I guess we have it now, so that's cool. He just sent over all the art, which looks amazing by the way, so I'm gonna get to work on the title menu. Asodiac also made these super cute buttons for each of our channels to be on the title screen, and I made it to redirect you to our channels if you clicked on it. He also made a tutorial screen that can be scrolled through using the arrow keys on your keyboard. As well as that, he sent over some art for a restart button, so I added it into the game to appear in the top right and made it so if you pressed R, the room would restart in case you messed up the puzzle. I had to cut the day short because of some IRL stuff I had to do. Honestly, didn't get that much done today. So I shall see you tomorrow. So I woke up this morning ready to absolutely grind out this game and have it all ready to submit to the jam by tomorrow evening. Anyways, Asodiac finished all 5 of the 5 levels we were planning for, which is absolutely insane that he could do this so quickly, but he indeed did it. So I started slowly copying the levels and adding them into the game. This took me a few hours to finish, and during the process I also added some different objects into the game as well. This one is called the Spinny Boy, and when you press it, it can't be undone, and it turns all the lava in the room into obsidian, making it safe for the angel to walk on. I was literally incapable of fixing the sprites for the obsidian that he sent over for me originally, and after an hour or so I eventually just made it into a giant dark square. Once I was done, I hopped in another call with Asodiac. We were talking about the next plan of action. We still wanted to add music, particles, and end screen, and polishing up the game just in general. So I got to work adding in some particles using GameMaker's particle system. Now when you walk around, white particles shoot out of your feet because everyone knows that's totally normal. And when you walk on lava, a red particle also shoots out of your feet. While I was doing this, Asodiac was working on some epic music for the game. He ended up making and revising 3 different tracks, one for the title screen, the game, and one for the end screen. Speaking of the end screen, we talked about the devil and the angel being in love, and although it didn't make any sense whatsoever, we thought it would be a great way to wrap up the game. So we made this great end screen, which I absolutely love, but can't show you guys though, no spoilers. It took a few more hours to add in the end screen and the music properly, but I think it all is looking pretty good. We also thought about adding in some post-processing or cool shaders, but I ended up not doing it because I didn't want to take the spotlight away from the actual artwork, and I think it was definitely the right choice. I think it's time to wrap up today and go to sleep. We got a ton done today, and we pretty much finished. See you tomorrow. So it's currently the last day of Bracky's 2022.2 Game Jam, and there's only 12 hours left. I'm super excited to see the game finished, and while I was sleeping, Asodiac had set up an entire itch.io page because we're in like a 9-hour time zone gap, which you best believe that made it a little tricky. If you don't know, itch.io is a great place where you can put your coding projects directly onto the internet, and we made one for Hellawai, allowing people to play or download it from the project page directly. The page he set up looked great, except one thing. He was planning to have the game use HTML5 so he could embed the project onto the web page so people could play it in the browser without having to download it or anything. Well, I scripted and tested the game to work as a Windows.exe install, not HTML5. Oh no. Basically, since I code the game to run as a Windows.exe, the way the game handles determining which objects is which is different than how it's handled in HTML5. And some pretty wacky stuff was going on. With my hopes up, I worked for a few hours re-scripting the game to function properly in HTML. A few headaches later, and the game is completely functional in the itch.io page, with only 3 hours remaining, oh god. I continued to polish the game for the rest of that evening, and once I was sure of myself, I sent over the HTML5 file, and for the first time that week, I got an actually good night's sleep. Alrighty, Asodiac embedded the HTML file I sent him into the itch.io page and submitted it to the Game Jam. It felt amazing to look back at our creation and see that we made a somewhat fully functional game in a single week. This is my first time ever doing a Game Jam, as well as collaborating with another developer. Throughout that week, our game got over 30 comments and reviews, I'm pretty sure, and they were all super supportive and constructive. This one guy even went as far as to say that it was his favorite game out of the entire Game Jam. That's a huge compliment. Okay, but finally, what you've all been waiting for. How did the game do in the Game Jam? Here's the results for the individual scoring in each aspect. These are all more than fair, and we did way better in these categories than I ever would have expected, especially for game design. We got number 38 out of over 1,000 submissions. That's a huge thing for me. And for overall, we got, drumroll please, number 124. Out of 1,000 people, we got number 124. This is absolutely nuts, considering this is my first Game Jam, and me and Asodiac are super happy over this one. So, in the end, we really enjoyed making this game and entering in the Game Jam. It's finally time to tell you guys to go play the game. The link for the game is in the description, and I hope you enjoy playing the game as much as I enjoyed making it. We had a ton of fun working on together, and I hope we work together again sometime in the future. I spent an ungodly amount of time on this video, so if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and comment your feedback. I love reading it all, and it helps me so much. I'm also trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of this year. Subscribe! Anywho, that'll be it for now. Hope you had fun, I know I did, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay cool. Welcome to the third devlog of my indie game Bitworld RPG.